Hi everyone. I wanted to give you an update on all of the changes that are going to be happening with the MyITLab course. A lot of changes. So let's just start with today's view. What we're going to start in today's view is we're going to turn on a bunch of things. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the announcements by default the main thing that students see. Right now, what they would usually see is the welcome message, but we're going to make the announcements the default. And one of the reasons to do that is because it really is imperative that you do put announcements up there. So you can put announcements in Angel, but it's nice to have announcements in here so students know how to go about and what they're supposed to do for the week. It really does help them. And if you want to add announcements, you just click on this manage right here and you see where you can go ahead and create an announcement from that case. So that's the first change. The second change is we're turning on a bunch of the alerts and one of the to-dos. The to-do is the instructor grading. There is one item in which you have to grade, which is the Dropbox. And so when the Dropbox assignment is submitted, you can actually see here, of course when I click on that there's no items to display, but it would tell you how many items have been submitted. You can then see the items in this view and get to those submissions very quickly. The other thing we're going to turn on is the alerts. We're going to turn on any students that haven't passed based on a 70% pass rate. We're going to turn on the new grades. And one of the things that's important with the new grades is that as students put new grades in, again, you can click on that and the list of the new grades would show up in this box here. And they would be aggregated based on the various assignments that the students have. The other important thing with having the new grades on there, if there are any integrity violations, the integrity violation icon will show up there. And when I click on the new grades item and I get a list of all of the items that the new grades have come in, if I scroll through and I find the grader project that has the integrity violation will have the integrity violation icon and something in red under it. So you can very quickly determine if a student has an integrity violation. Idle students, this is students who haven't been active within the course. This is for the last month. Past due items, this is kind of nice, and this will be based on specific activities based on each student, so that you can actually see if students haven't submitted it, and past due items that have not been submitted. So all of these alerts will be turned on. Now, if you want to turn some of them off and maybe not have them, I really don't recommend that, but you can click on customize right here and you can see where the customize is here. You can this is where we'll notify when grades are, notify the students, notify me students who have entered the course, and honestly we should have that set for a week. That's probably a good idea, and I'm going to go ahead and save that. The last thing that's on today's view that we're going to turn on is the calendar. Once again, the best practice is assigning content items that are due to the calendar for a particular due date, so that students can click on that and they get a listing of everything that they have to do in that particular week, especially things that are due. So that's a very important piece too, so the students have that. And I did have a student last semester who said, I just use the calendar, and she doesn't necessarily go into the content items. So that's the big change on today's view and what we're going to be setting there as the default. The other really big change is on the course content. So I'm going to go ahead to organize content. And as you got in the email from Chrissy, the email stated that we will now not have an access project 2 or 3, and we will have an orientation. So I did this for the summer term, and it turned out to be absolutely wonderful. So the whole first week was literally the MyITLab orientation activities. What I would recommend, And which is what I did, is I did not open up these folders. I scheduled the folders to be the second week of the class so that the students would not get into that content, that they were forced to go and do the MyITLab orientation activities. One of the things that happened during the first week for my students is that they were able to take care of any technical problems. The Mac users got a lot of questions answered. A lot of things get answered. I got feedback from my students that was extremely positive, both in my SSI, and I also surveyed my students and asked them if they felt that this was a useful thing to do. So the whole first week is MyITLab orientation activities. If you're teaching online, one of the recommendations that I have is I made my stuff due Tuesday nights. So literally my students had the first week and 2 days to get the MyITLab orientation activities completed. And it is worth 5% of their grade. Once I get the Angel master shells up, I will have another tutorial on what's new in there. So let me go into this so you can see what's here. What you can see is it's a 3-step process. The first step is setting up their computer, and I have all kinds of information underneath of this so students should be able to read all of this. When they go to the step 1, and I also have a notes here that what the folders are, and again if they're Mac users, what they're supposed to do, and what they're supposed to do if they're a Mac user, and they can go directly to that link on the Mac. So here's what they're supposed to do in setting up their PC. Supposed to click on that and it'll take them to the home computer setup. They're supposed to put the tool on there. That's the first step. The second step is navigating MyITLab. So what I have the students do, again I have information, is getting familiar with MyITLab. So this is a little paper book that starts on page 20. The students are supposed to read page 20 and read about navigating MyITLab. And then what I did is I created a very simple orientation here, a very simple little quiz that has questions specifically that they have to answer based on the book. It's 6 questions. It's not a lot. It's not that difficult, but the idea is they're supposed to read this. The last thing they have is the types of the activities that go on in MyITLab, and again they read all of this. So what I did is I created something that they would have to use, and what I used is the common features chapter, which is what we don't use. So the first thing the student would want to do is go ahead and click on the ebook and read the ebook. Then what they're supposed to do is a skills-based training activity. And again, I have all kinds of information underneath it here that they're supposed to read. And this is a tutorial that I asked them to watch on it. It's 6 minutes, but it explains and goes through the whole process of how they're supposed to do a training activity. Then they go through and do the training activity. And again, it's unlimited attempts on that. Then they're supposed to read the tutorial on what a skills-based assignment is. Again, they can go and sit back here, watch this tutorial. And again, they're supposed to go through that, and it gets graded. Then I have the grader project, and I have a 17-minute, yes, it's very long, but very important. I step them through a long tutorial on how to do the grader projects. 2 parts: how to go ahead and download the grader project information, how to go ahead and open it up, go ahead and use it, and submit it. Then I have them go through, if they looking at the different ways that they can submit it, since they get 2 attempts on that. What I used here was, and they should go and read the book here, and then they have the project videos just like they would if they were in a particular chapter, and then the instructions, and then a solution. This particular grader project activity is one that is the homework for chapter 1 in the book, so it doesn't violate any violations or anything like that against what we're doing actually in the course. Now, the other thing that I did do with this grader project, so that you're all aware, is this: that there's all these tasks that they have to complete. They're not going to lose any points on it. I only have 21 points on this, so that they won't feel like they really don't know what they're doing. There's just a few tasks in there that are pretty simple. so that they won't be penalized. And so let me show you that in here. Let me go up to edit here and go to questions and edit. A lot of clicks here. And then I go to manage variation, and you'll notice that add a file name to the footer, then this is 0, this is 3 points. So, doing bullets is pretty simple, and the rest is all 0. The reason for that is because, again, don't want them to really feel like they're going to lose all the points, for the semester just because, this is brand new to them. The idea here is for them to really feel comfortable doing a greater project. That is the intention here. So the whole intention of this entire thing and this entire MyITLab orientation activities is for the students to get comfortable, to deal with any technical issues, to deal with book issues, anything like that. You have the whole first week. This is worth 5% of their grade, and it does go into the grade book. So that is really the big change that is going on in the course. The rest of the course is the same. That hasn't changed, except for that we are using the 9th edition of Technology in Action, and we are using the second volume or second edition of the Go book. One other thing that I will point out to you, and I know that Chrissy's going to send an email out about this, but I will point this out. In here, there's something new that's called simulations. These are optional, but it may be something that we may want to use later on. These are really nice, and I would go through them, and it's something that if you're teaching in a face-to-face or blended format, you could really use these in a classroom setting and bring them up and have the students go through them. They're really good. I mean, these particular simulations, just so you can get a quick idea here, is like in this case, they have to list the various types of characteristics of personal computers and give examples of each computing device. So in this particular case, they click next, and they have an actual real-world idea of what they have to do here, drag and drop appropriate things. So they have to read here their corporate accountant, and they probably want a PC, and they click on that, and that's correct, and that's the best choice for them. Eastern sales rep probably needs a laptop, and the netbook, oh, that's not right, so we'll try a PC notebook. Oh, that's wrong too. So again, you would get this information, and so they actually have to go through and read this, and it's really good in there. And there's actually ways of having some quizzes that we can have to it that relate to that. So anyway, those are all something new that are in each of the chapters on the understanding computers and internet literacy. Once again, the rest of the course is the same, except that Access has only one chapter in it now, as you'll see that we had. So that's the big thing. Please watch this whole thing. I know it's long, and I'm saying that at the end, so hopefully at the end you have watched it. Email me any questions that you may have, especially about the orientation activities, and anything that you have questions about, please email me. Thank you.